Good morning, everyone. I am still in Boston, and I wanted to try and jump on here before seeing patients today to kind of just speak to the enemies of gratitude. And if you've been following the last few lives, as I've been traveling across the country, first at the American College of Lifestyle Medicine Conference, and now I'm in Boston with my daughter this week, and we'll run a half marathon on Sunday. I found this Asian pear, and the Asian pear delighted me and gave me such sense of gratitude for several days. And I just ate the last Asian pear that I brought with me from the hotel today. But I've been going on walks, trying to get used to the cold, because I got a little soft here in Orange County, California. So anyway, trying to get used to the cold so when I go to run on Sunday, it won't be such an abrupt change. But as I'm sitting here walking around this morning, I had just noticed that high feeling that I literally internally created from this gratitude from this Asian pear had seemed to diminish, and I'm still in a wonderful place. I love Boston, I love my daughter and getting to spend time with her, and I'm trying to figure out what is going on in this mental space, and it just really made me start thinking and reflecting back on a few things that I'd like to share with you. And so let me pull up my notes here. And you may or may not find these helpful, but I really wanted to just share them with you. Um, and in particular, there's nine that I've come up with that were things that in my own life that some things I'm not as proud to share, but I'm sure as humans we've all experienced together. But I'm just putting it all out there, and I hope you can relate, and maybe I'll give you some food for thought the next time that you're struggling to find something to be grateful for. Um, I think the first thing to understand is that there's habits and mindsets and external influences that really make it hard for us to find gratitude, or they detract us from finding gratitude. I think there are some people who are naturally more inclined to be more positive and loving and always think about these positive things. I hope that I'm one of those people, but I certainly obviously struggle just like everyone else. But I wanted to just share a few other ones. One of them in particular is entitlement, right? So, feeling entitled about certain outcomes or benefits um, can really overshadow the recognition that you already have, right? So, if we feel like we're entitled to have this lane of driving down the road, for example, if we have, we feel entitled that everyone should just get out of our way. And if someone cuts us off, that how dare they, right? That is our time and our space. We put little thought into thinking what that person might have done, or think back to the times that maybe we cut off someone, or maybe we feel entitled to the fact that um, you are a certain person in a job or at a school, and you deserved a reward or a promotion. And that might be rightful. So I'm not trying to diminish where someone feels like they should have something. But at the same time, if you're constantly looking at what you feel entitled to and never getting, we're putting ourselves in this mindset of deprivation. And I think it's really hard to find abundance or gratitude when we're constantly thinking about the things that we feel like we never got. And then I think the next thing this kind of moves into is envy. So for those who do get things that we feel they don't deserve, or we feel maybe that we should have as well, um, it can make it really difficult to remain grateful when we focus on what others have, provide that energy, that mental energy and attention what others have and what we lack. But if we really think about it, if we focus our mindset into our own life and our own blessings and limit our exposure to social media, I think that triggers in many people, the increased feelings of envy, that we'll find it easier to find gratitude. Um, and the way I see this, growing up, for example, I can share a story, is I was always envious of people who had a family unit that was loving and kind and felt wanted. And I always knew that it wasn't necessarily envy. I was sad that I could not have them, or maybe it was envy. I always remember seeking out adults, like teachers, like Coach Willis. I am friends with him on Facebook. God, that man saved my life in so many ways, and I've told him so. And I graduated high school in 1989, so this is like 34 years ago. And, when you seek out, when you are lacking something and you're able to find people that will breathe life into you, hold on to those people and let them know how much they mean to you. But I was always striving. So when I saw what others had, I was envious in the sense that I didn't have that or didn't feel it. But when I did find people who are willing to breathe into me what I was needing, that envy honestly dissolved because I was so thankful to have that person in my life and continue to be thankful that I had those people in my life. And it helped me to see when you switch around the envy, going, if I see something that they have that I want. And for me as a kid, when I saw that, when I had friends, Melanie and Meredith, who had wonderful parents and a loving home unit, and Melanie's dad helped me write my valedictorian speech for high school. I mean, those memories will never leave me. In my head, I was like, "I want that type of family. I will seek my partner." My husband, thank goodness, I was very blessed to find. I wanted to create a different family unit, and that was really, really important. And so I turned the envy, what I was longing for, into saying, "Okay, Lori, what can you do? This is your life. You make decisions to get that." And so I think it's so important that we can maybe think about that when we feel the shades of green and envy coming upon us. What is it about that life that you're wanting? We'll turn it around saying, well, what do I have already in place that can start me down the path of reaching those goals? And for me, it was that strong family unit. And for example, I my boys are super close to each other. They call each other almost every day. And honestly, that's I can die happy person just knowing that I've created a place where my children feel safe and loved amongst each other and in our home. So anyway, and then the other thing, another one is materialism, right? I think, in my own past experience, not having a whole lot, and it wasn't even that I desired certain materialism, but as a kid that didn't have a whole lot, you'd see other kids, or even as a young college person, didn't have much money to spend money on clothes or anything of substance, and was really lucky to eat most days. I remember just thinking, wow, when I have the opportunity, I would like to buy these things. And that can backfire, right? Because then you're fed, right? So you buy something and you buy clothes that you don't need. How many of us have clothes in our closet that we don't need? I am one of those people. Or shoes or cars or bigger houses. And we're searching to fill some void inside. But I think it's really important to understand that the value of a material possession can be tremendous. I'm not saying that there isn't very valuable things that we can have. Like, I love this green sweater. It makes me happy. It's warm right now. Um, but so many things that we can just buy with one click on Amazon, um, will arrive, and we'll maybe use it once and dispose of it. Or we buy things for our kids hoping that they will, trying to make them happy when all they really want is time with you. And a few years ago, we've really made an effort to, instead of buying Christmas gifts, I still do get gifts because I just like to provide gifts. Nothing major, but it's the experience. So what we've been trying to do is doing a local experience. It could be when we lived in Florida, going um, snorkeling in the ocean, or maybe it's going on a great hike, or one time we actually created a little ping pong thing. You have to understand, we're a very competitive family. We had game night, and those are some of my highlights of my holidays with the family. For me, it's an experience. So, the materialism, like I said, I think there can be obviously things that can be provide great value, but at the same time can detract from our gratefulness. And we just get in this loop. We're looking for the next thing that will make us happy, but we'll never get there because there isn't something that'll make us happy. Um, I think we've all experienced this. We think we'll get the raise, or we think we'll get the new car, or we'll get the bigger house, or we'll get this, purse, or whatever it is. And at the end of the day, once we get it, we're no happier than we were before. And so, I think it's really important to just sit back and think and kind of, I can't remember Marie, her name's left me at the moment. Is it something that brings you joy? But I'd even go further and say, is this item have purpose in my life? What's the purpose? Am I going to continue to use it? And before you even buy something, like, what is the purpose? Is it going to have value? If I don't want it, what will I do with it? Just kind of being mindful in your purchases. Oh my heavens. But anyway, yeah, so those are the top three for me. But there's a few others. I think negative bias is a big one, right? So humans, we have a natural tendency to focus on the negative aspects of life, which can crowd out gratitude. I think it really takes a lot of effort to savor the little moments every day. So when you can be sit back and take a breath and be mindful of an opportunity, I was like, today I was walking through the Victory Gardens in Boston, and it's a cloudy, rainy day, and it feels like 37 degrees outside, and I'm walking around bundled up like a lunatic. I'm sure, crazy person, way more than the normal Bostonian. And but at the same time, I was warm. But I'm walking through, and most of the flowers aren't there anymore. But I'm just thinking, walking through here, going, what a lovely time, because there's not a lot of people, and it wasn't too hot. I can just sit and not sit, but walk along these awesome gardens and think about their history and how much joy they must have brought to the families. So those are just some little things you can do instead of looking at the negative, like, man, I'm having to walk in the rain and it's cold, as it was. But it provided me an opportunity to be walking lovely gardens, and thinking how much more I'll enjoy them even when the sun's out. Um, anyway, so just some thoughts there. Another one is what we call habituation. I think we become accustomed to the good things in our life, and we're really bad about that, I think, here in the United States. And we can take these things for granted. And honestly, I think the one thing that helps is putting ourselves of service to those who are less fortunate in our society or somewhere else. I did a 2 week, I'll share two stories real quick. I did a 2 week mission trip in Uganda several years ago. And I was the only American physician, and it was for a children's orphanage that someone at our church was starting. It's a wonderful story, Father to the Fatherless, if you're not aware of it. And Matthias was his name. And so I was in charge of raising funds and getting people to come. And we raised funds and brought 1,000 pounds of medical supplies with us to this rural village. I mean, you land in Kampala after many hours of flying, and then we drove for a couple hours in some very scary roads. Um, and we're driving towards this remote village, and I started seeing pictures, this face plastered on little cottages and trees, and they had sent ahead of, who knows how long it took to get there, that the American doctors were coming, doctor and her team, to take care of them. And we spent 4 days. I think we saw almost, I don't know, 550 some odd patients. And those were some long days, but I have never seen such gratitude for someone to just see someone like myself and bringing medicines and for infections and things that they don't have ready access to. They have to travel far, they have to pay for. And if you go spend 2 weeks where there's no running water and no electricity, and you're very smelly, when you come back, um, I remember for many, many weeks how I would just look at my shower and go, I'm so thankful for the car and the heat and the food. Um, and yeah, so go do some service for someone. I think that is the easiest way. Some people say, oh, you can just think about it. I was like, I think there's more than thinking. I think you need to go and immerse yourself in these opportunities. The other time was when I was in the Air Force, and I went to Ecuador on a humanitarian trip. And I spent 2 weeks, and we traveled into some very unique places up in the Andes. And um, we saw hundreds of people, and there were more than it was just more than just me. There were several physicians, and people would walk hours and spend 8 or more hours waiting in line just to see the American doctors. So, um, if that doesn't humble you, I don't know what will. But, again, came home and looking at, they took us on a tour of the hospitals, locally, and these are hospitals that Americans, even the poorest of us, would not set foot into because we would feel entitled to a better, opportunity or better service. And they were so proud of these facilities. And I was amazed at just thinking to myself, wonder what they would think if they walked into some American hospital, and what would their experience be by speaking to some American who thought they weren't getting good care in that facility in the United States. And, yeah, so it gives me a lot to sit and pause and think about. Not saying that our system is, uh, the best. We have a lot of problems, but holy moly, we are very blessed here. We have resources beyond resources that people literally are dying because they don't have access to. Um, yeah, so habituation, go out and spend some time with others and get a different experience. I think that's really important. I think comparison is another one. So comparing our lives to others, will often lead us feeling lacking. Why are we comparing ourselves to others? I don't know why we do this. We all do it. I do it. Someone else who's 53 looks younger than me. Someone who's 53, has more than me. They have this, they have that. At the end of the day, it really doesn't help me at all. So, as women, especially, we are constantly comparing ourselves to others, and um, I think our society and our culture promote that, and it's really unfortunate that we can't sit, with one another and not judge each other and compare our lives and what we're lacking, or we see someone on the Instagram feed or Facebook or YouTube or whatever, we just see highlight reels of their lives. These aren't their everyday lives. All of these people that we compare ourselves to have struggles, they have sadness, and they have worries and stresses that we'll never understand. So stop wasting your mental energy. You are lovely and wonderful just the way you are, and God made you for this purpose in this life at this time, and go out there and live it. Stop comparing yourself to others. And I promise you, you'll live at the end of your days, you'll be thankful that you did. Um, the other thing I think is important here is busyness. How many of us just say we're just so busy? And we are busy. I'm not saying we're not busy, but how much of it is actually stuff that we really don't need to be doing? I think we're very good at detracting ourselves, when we're scrolling. How many hours a day are we doing just things that are not necessarily important for us to do, that they would be okay if we didn't do? Um, Anyway, so I think a small practice of daily gratitude journaling is really helpful with that, and make it part of a routine. But instead of just saying listing things that you're grateful for, maybe put why you're grateful for them. I'm grateful for my family because, they love me unconditionally and they're there for me. I am thankful for a soft bed to sleep on at night because it's much more comfortable than the floor. I'm thankful for a hot shower, um, and being able to spend time in indoor plumbing, um, having seen places that are different. I mean, these are simple things, but why are you thankful for them? We are just so blessed here in the United States. I just, I just thinking about it just makes me tear up a bit. And I think another one is just in general, we're very ungrateful. We promote ungratefulness. We gossip to one another and we complain to one another, and we're sitting here thinking, I should got this, I should got that. How about we try to breed more kindness and love and gratitude today, right? And just see what happens. Um, I was made a joke with my daughter. I was like the other day when I was walking, I'm just walking around. If you see someone bundled up, it's probably me. Um, and I was just like, I'm going to just spread a smile to every single person I could. What was really interesting, people who would look at me many times would avert their eyes. And I was like, man, I must be very. Oh, there we go. Sorry, I had a call. Um, it was a really interesting time, but many people would avert their eyes. I had a few people smile back, but I don't know if it's just a larger city or what, but I'll continue to try and spread a smile. But yeah, but let's just try to be thankful. And when someone opens the door, I was like, thank you so very much for, but it's such a kind thing. Or someone lets you step in front of them, or they let you guys, like, say thank you, or do something nice for someone. Hold the door open for someone else. Let someone else take your seat. Let someone, get in front of you if they need to. Who knows? Then maybe they just got a phone call, their kid's sick, or who knows what's going on. Again, just trying to these little things of gratitude, and then when someone does do something for you, say thank you, because then it's going to promote them to probably do it more. And we are all guilty of this, but I would just encourage us to do that today. And I think finally, I think stress and anxiety is these are emotions that make it really hard to be grateful. And so I think, things that are really important to do is you're not only going to promote good mental health, but also promote good relationships. So, exercise, speaking with your loved ones, doing a hobby, being outside as much as you can, meditation, writing, journaling. I think if you looked on one of my posts on Instagram, you'd see the cat picture that I drew for my daughter, painted, and was inspired. And I was inspired by someone on Instagram, another artist, Andrea Nelson. She's amazing. But anyway, I hope, I didn't want to keep you guys this long, but I just want to just speak to the enemies of gratitude, because I was just noticing my own fluctuation of gratitude as I came off my Asian pear high. Maybe I need to go buy another Asian pear. I don't know. But I think part of it was because I got it for free. But anyway, I hope that's helpful. And it's a muscle. The more we do it, I think the better off we're all going to be. And yeah, gratitude breeds mindfulness and kindness, which we all need a little bit more of these days. So anyway, you guys are all amazing. Thank you for spending time with me today. It's not about the coffee like I'd spoke to, but there's just something about all this other stuff, the mental stuff, that just amazes me. And you humans are incredible people. So anyway, have a great day, everyone. Blessings, and stay warm, because I know it's cold here. But if you're in Orange County, you're probably not a little less concerned about the cold. But take care. Bye. Whoops.